Welcome to Daily 5 for Thursday, May 30th, 2024. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I'm the first, 10th, 30th, 50th, maybe not even the 100th person to say this over the years, but I did want to talk about how Apple used to design things, as many other people have. Like I said, I'm not trying to pretend I'm on the bleeding edge of a controversial opinion here, but I was reminded of this because obviously there was that horrible crushed ad that Apple made and then semi apologized for and then released basically the polar opposite type of ad for because they clearly knew that they had screwed up. So there was that. And then I had seen an article about somebody who'd made this little case for the Apple Watch that basically made it into almost a little iPod phone. This little adorable thing. I don't know how to describe it. I'll link to it in the show notes. And it reminded me that one of the things, because at this point, Apple, if they're not the best computer manufacturer in terms of hardware in the world, they're certainly up there in terms of the quality of their products. I don't think many people would honestly dispute that. And so they've got that part locked in between Apple Silicon and the way that they make their products last and their support for them. You really can't ding the hardware all that much outside of these little mistakes here and there, like the butterfly keyboard and that type of thing. But in general, it is a pretty safe bet to recommend a Mac to somebody as long as the apps that they need to use are present on it. And you could say the same thing about the iPhones. And I've talked about the fact that the iPad is regrettably the far and away best tablet you could possibly have. There's no competition there, as we keep seeing by the fact that they release better hardware with the same OS that can't take advantage of it. But the one thing that Apple has really failed at, and I've mentioned variations on this in the past, so again, this is not even a new idea for me, but it just really kind of, when I saw this little watch case that this person had made, it really reminded me that Apple has virtually lost all the whimsical design they used to do. I don't know how many people and how old everybody is, but I remember the first Macs I ever used were the big, I don't remember which generation they were, but the big, they called them the Bondi Blue iMacs, where they had these, or maybe they weren't even iMacs at that point, I don't remember, but they had these big colorful shells, and then there was the part where they made the snowball with this head with a monitor on it that swiveled around. And then one of my favorites, which unfortunately was not a great computer, so it flopped, but the Cube computer that they made. Apple used to do things that took chances more. They used to do things that were bright and vibrant and made you really want people to know they were using their stuff. And I feel like they've regressed into this design aesthetic where, I mean, forget the Johnny Ive stuff. That was its own problem. But it feels like, and I've heard people say this, I think, as a defense, that professionals want everything to be in grayscale and monotone. And look, I love monotone. I love it. But at the same time, color is good. Having some things that stand out about your products is good. Everything being some shade of gray, and even their colors with most of their products aren't really colors. They're just kind of light shading on dark gray. Outside of, I think, the iPhone, maybe the iPhone, the ones that don't have any type of moniker, not the Pros or whatever, but the lowest ones. I think maybe the SEs have some color in them still. But that's really kind of it. Everything else is some variation on gray. Even their Midnight is just kind of a dark gray, bluish color. I don't even know what you would call it. There's the rose gold, but even that is barely even gold, really. It's everything is just kind of a muted version of what you would expect the color to look like. And I do miss that Apple used to make this stuff because, again, they've got the hardware side pretty locked down. So why not start injecting a little bit more life and interest? I mean, lots of people put stickers and cases and debrand things and these carved cases with these bright colors on them. So obviously there is a desire for this stuff. So why doesn't Apple do it? I've talked before about how the fact that I think that Tim Cook is missing that other side of what Apple needs. And I think this is what I'm talking about, is this ability to make the products feel like they are distinct and unique and interesting. Because honestly, if you see two great laptops next to each other, I mean, you'll have to get close to tell which one. I mean, there's the Apple logo, but let's say you could only see the color of them. There's lots of copycats of them, and part of the reason for that is they're easy to copy because there's not much to them. So I don't think they have any desire to do this. They're selling too many of their machines. You know, they're making enough money. There's no real impetus for them to do anything differently, which of course is its own problem. That's, again, the iPad Pro problem. When there is no competition, when there is no threat of any kind, you just kind of crank out the same stuff because you're just printing money, and that's sort of the big company problem everywhere. But it does make me miss the days when Apple did weird stuff, even if it didn't work. And I don't know if those days are ever going to come back. They're probably not. There's too much money in doing what they're doing. But I do miss those days, and I wouldn't mind if they came back later.